Thanks for tuning in to The Real Deal Show, brought to you by ebodyboarding.com and Tribe Boards.
Hey guys, Jay Reale live from Ocean Beach, the Bodyboarding US Festival, with another episode of The Real Deal Show and special guest here, 8-time world drop knee champion, David Hubbard from the island of Kauai. How's it going, Dave?
Terrific. Great to be here in sunny San Diego. We got amazing weather in the middle of November.
Yes.
We're just soaking it up. We got waves, and the bodyboarding action is pretty fierce out there.
And speaking of the bodyboarding action, you are the defending champion of this event in 2 divisions. Am I right on that?
That's correct.
That is the drop knee division and the pro division. And at this point, Dave has advanced through both of those divisions again this year, on track to defend his title. A lot different wave-wise than it was 2 years ago. Last year we had a hiatus due to COVID, but we're back on this year. Tell us about the difference in waves this year versus 2 years ago.
2 years ago was maybe about 4 times the size. We had sets slapping the bottom of the pier.
Yes.
We had pretty solid waves, probably maybe double overhead on some of the sets.
Yeah.
And just a terrific swell event over that weekend. This time we do have waves. It's not flat. I'd say it's shoulder high, kind of in the chest high area.
Yep.
And it's been glassy all day, so I mean it really is still great conditions, but right, in comparison to 2019, it does look different.
Yeah, this is the quintessential Southern California Santa Ana fall day here. In fact, the last 3 days have been like this, just super clean, glassy all day, sunny, warm temperatures, much warmer than normal for this time of year. And really, the good thing is when the waves are a little bit smaller here, there's actually a shoulder that you can make, whereas 2 years ago, a lot of closeouts.
Sure.
Today, we actually have some long peelers if you get on the wave at the right spot. So that'll suit the drop knee division in particular. It's hard to find that, that open face where you can get down to the bottom, back up to the top. I'd say, obviously, I'm going to point out the obvious here. Your fellow Kauai bodyboarder and 4-time world drop knee champion, Sammy Moratino, would have to be the rival for you in the drop knee division in particular, but also in the pro division, right?
In men's too, yeah. I think I'd also add Kavika Kamai onto there too.
Okay.
He was in Portugal competing for the last world title given out, which Sammy won.
Yep.
And I thought Kavika was a threat, like just as strong as Sammy. So I would put Kavika, but it's not just a two-man show. There's tons of talent, not only in the drop knee, but in the men's. I will be fighting through each heat. Nothing's guaranteed.
Nothing's
here.
guaranteed. And that's how it is in every contest, really. If you don't get the waves, doesn't matter how good you are. But it always seems to work out that the people who have been bodyboarding the longest, spend the most time in the water, they seem to have a sixth sense for where those good waves are coming in. So tomorrow will be the final. We'll report at the end of, before I actually air this, who actually ended up winning. In fact, I may just post up the results at the end of this show. But for now, I want to move on to something else, and that's basically talking about how things are going with Hubboards, and obviously your involvement as one of the co-founders, co-owners with your brother Jeff. Things seem to be going really well. Obviously the pandemic was good for business, right?
It was. A lot of people returned to their hobbies. There was quite a bit of free time. Some people had expendable income. So yeah, hard goods, I think, across the board, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but saw a drastic uptick.
Yep.
And without going into the supply chain qualms with transportation of goods, we found ourselves on the right side of the supply chain issue, where the demand was more than we could supply at any given moment. And so we'll try to get more product in, and if it moves out quickly, that's great, right?
Yeah. Well, I know. We're seeing the same thing. Here in November of 2021, there are supply chain issues across the industry, across all industries. There's ships anchored off the coast of Southern California here waiting to get into port. The factories have had slowdowns or difficulty getting raw materials. So, in the bodyboarding world, that affects all of us. It affects Hubboards' ability to get product and then get it to retailers like us. So, obviously, be patient if you're waiting for a brand new Hubbard. We're waiting for shipments to come in. We have them on ebodyboarding.com, but I digress. Let's get away from that. So we've talked about this in the past, but give us what your role is with your company. What is your part of the equation here?
I consult for Jeff, which entails a pretty wide spectrum. Jeff does a wide variety of roles for the company. As you do when you own the business, you end up doing quite a few things that whatever needs to be done, you're kind of there to make it happen. Typically, both of us are focused on product development, marketing, and those kind of two things do take up quite a bit of our focus. Yeah. And so that those two things are the nuts and bolts of brand development, which is, a main focus of ours, as we have this brand and we want to continue to improve it, and we want to continue to have the best products we can, and so we want to continue to develop new products and also market those products. So, those are two categories of things that also spread down into many different, whether it's Instagram or a YouTube video, or whether it's occasionally even a physical magazine ad, which sometimes still happens. Yeah. And anything in between, as far as the marketing is concerned, and the product development. My brother does a terrific job sourcing products and finding out where they can be manufactured and testing out samples. And I'll test the things out and get my give him my 2 cents, and also have either a critique or a point that, whether it's totally backing him up and he is already on target, or just a fine adjustment there. And so we kind of...
You work in concert with each other. You complement each other's skills. So with that said, anything you can give us as far as what's coming down the pipeline for Hubboards? Anything new and groundbreaking, or are you just kind of doing little refinements of existing products?
Yeah, so far it's looking like nothing groundbreaking off of 2021 or 2020. I think we're going to have a bodyboard sock. Okay. I think we're going to be trying to release one of those. Yep. A Hubboards bodyboard sock, I think, which would be a new product for us. And we're going to continue to periodically release some T-shirts. Yep. And have some try to keep a current T-shirt, some soft goods, but just casually continue to update those designs for the people who like to wear our brand and who identify with us as a bodyboard brand.
Right on. And you guys, I think you bring the fun, you know what I mean? Like, Hubboards, to me, obviously you and Jeff are two of the best bodyboarders that have ever lived in my eyes.
Thank you.
But you don't have that serious, hardcore vibe to your brand. You have the, hey man, let's go out and just have a blast riding waves. In your case, drop knee, stoogie, and prone. Stoogie, by the way, I don't know who coined that word.
It was
Australian. Who coined the term? It means stand up boogie, stoogie. The Australians came up with
that? That's where I heard it first.
Okay. So you bring on all the fun and all the excitement of bodyboarding without the serious side. Is that kind of the vibe you're trying to set up here?
Absolutely, yeah. We love to have fun in the water. That's why we both bodyboard.
Yeah.
We love to transmit and share that fun, of course, and our brand, is really centered around fun.
Yeah.
And whether it's, bright colors or inflatable bodyboards or different kind of graphics, we really want that to be well communicated because I think that is really
it's the reason we all do this.
Exactly.
And in the surfing world, catch surf really they give off that same vibe. So I love seeing it with Hubboards. And I've seen some interviews with you. This is an interesting point here, Dave, where you mentioned, somebody said, "Oh, you and Jeff, you're both bodyboarders, and of course your brother Mike is a great surfer."
Sure.
And a lot of people don't know Mike Hubbard. He's a super cool guy, by the way. We'll get him on the show someday, maybe. But
that'd be cool.
Anyway,
you get the real deal if you bring Mike in.
So you and Jeff, at a young age, somebody asked you if you were super competitive with each other, and all brothers are to some respect. But I think what the point I'm trying to get at is you mentioned that you kind of gravitated more towards drop knee to sort of separate yourself from Jeff, to be the yin to his yang. Is that a fair statement?
I think you're getting at something which really gets to the brotherly relationship. He's about between 6.5 and 7 years older than me. So when we were younger, there really wasn't an avenue for me to compete with him. I was just on such a lower level than he was. So we couldn't be in the same divisions. If we're free surfing, there's just really no similarity at all.
Yeah.
So growing up, I definitely saw him as my superior, and he was paving the way for our family name.
Yep.
And to your point, at some point I thought, well, I need to differentiate myself from Jeff because there's some other famous brothers in the bodyboard world.
Yep.
There's been several various ones, and I just felt like I didn't want the comparison to be so directed at the other brother.
Sure.
For either party, and so that's where I'm passionate about drop knee. I love to do it, and just really started to naturally want to drop knee more, but saw that also as a good opportunity to do something different than Jeff.
Yeah.
To avoid riding on his coattails,
sure.
so to speak.
Yep.
And that just was a great way, and it kind of presented itself naturally for us to kind of go in these two different ways that eventually now we're meeting up. We have this brand together, so we can do trips together, we work together.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but we kind of took a long way to get there and developed our own careers and our own images as riders.
Yep.
And so I think, although you could really work hard to find some similarities in our riding, they would not be so apparent if we were riding together in the water that we are physical brothers.
No, I totally agree with that.
You could say, oh yeah, these guys work together, they're wearing the same brand label, but you wouldn't say like, oh, maybe they're brothers by the way we ride. Sure, on the beach we do kind of look similar.
Yep.
But I think I'm kind of proud of that fact because I think Jeff's got just such a radical style. I think he's achieved so much as an aerialist of our sport. I think even competitively, and just I love his riding. He can drop knee. For those of you who don't know, he's
I've seen him. He can bust out the knee.
He can totally do it, and of course, he doesn't do it on large waves, which is totally fine. But he's skilled in that as well, and then I'm on kind of the flip side, and I have these other attributes that I bring to the table, and so it is like how you said before that we kind of work in concert.
Yeah, in concert. And here's what from my perspective is Jeff. I don't want to say he's predictable, but when he takes off on a wave and you see a section in front of him, you pretty much know what's going to happen. With you are unpredictable. When I watch videos of Dave Hubbard, I don't know what he's going to do with that section. Is he going to do a giant invert? Is he going to do a reverse Rolo? I don't know, a Gorf? If you know what a Gorf is.
Yeah.
I'd never know. So you are the unpredictable element of the Hubbard brothers. I called you Hubbard. That's good.
It's good.
See that?
That's
It's
right
the
in.
branding's working. I'm starting to call you Dave Hubbard. So, so I think, again, you guys have separated yourselves in terms of your riding so well with your different approaches to riding the wave,
Thank
but
you.
you're both equally explosive out there, which is just mind-blowing. So that brings me kind of to my next question, and that is, where do you see yourself personally, Dave, going in the next 5 years, both personally in your life and with your bodyboarding? I mean, you have any plans? Do you see something changing in the next 5 years for you?
Good question. And just to be dated, Jay already said the year. This is 2021, and I'm 39 years old. So the next 5 years, it's a question that people are going to be looking into if they're turning 40 in the next 12 months, right? If you asked me this when I was 23, I would have had no answer for you. But I did get married about 2.5 years ago. So on the personal side, planning with my wife, what these next 5 years, even 2 to 3 years, and of course even longer, 10 years, we're actively kind of discussing how that might look.
Yep.
So looks like probably for the next couple, maybe several years, we'll potentially wait and not have children. But let's see if we're able to after that.
Yeah.
So that's where parents and other relatives will always ask. If you get married, they're going to ask when you're having kids. So
Right.
that's the answer. That's the
You never
answer
hear the end of that.
Yeah, that's the answer to that.
At the wedding, when are you having kids? Right? That's the question you get.
So I think we have time to do more traveling together.
Yep.
So I'm, at least before COVID, I was considering another full-time year on tour.
Yep.
Of course, COVID and the World Bodyboard Tour has changed the landscape of what that might look like. But I'm still potentially interested. If it's not full-time, it could be a part-time showing on tour for the next couple of years.
Okay.
And probably always, or at least for each of these next 5 years, chasing the Drop Me World title, if I'm physically able to participate. But also active in other events, whether it's World Tour event that's doing prone, whether it's a national event here in California or other places, to compete, participate, and also hopefully get some trips with Jeff and Jerry, and maybe other Hubboards team riders, and to go to some really exciting places and try to get some awesome riding to show anybody who's interested in watching.
So you're still motivated to compete. I think, a lot of people, they've been competing as many years as you have. They sort of lose that, I don't want to say competitive edge, they just lose the desire to compete. Are you finding yourself still with that fire to compete?
Well, I think for me, I've grown personally and also have been growing in my approach with competition. And I think my mindset's a little different now, and I find it a privilege and an honor to participate. Of course, when I participate, I have the goal of doing my best, having fun, hopefully showing some of my talent, and if that gets me the gold, so to speak, awesome. And if it doesn't, then it might be a little hard to swallow for a few 15 minutes, 20 minutes, one or two nights. But I'm still going to be stoked that I had that chance to show up, to participate, to be a part of it, and
I was going to say a good thing about the situation you're in now is, maybe 15 years ago, your career depended on your results. So there's a lot of pressure to compete because man, my sponsor gave me a bunch of money to come to this contest and I lost in the first round, and you're stressing and am I going to lose my contract? But now you're self-funded, so hey, I'm here to promote my brand and compete. But if I compete, my income isn't going to rely on how I did in this contest. So it takes a little bit of the pressure off, right?
Sure, and that's a liberty not everybody is afforded.
True.
And especially on the front end of a career, that's probably not going to be your mindset.
Right.
But at this point, yeah, it is, and also it helps me to. Sometimes I think there's been some cases where I was my biggest competition.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Wow.
And the pressure I put on myself didn't serve me and didn't serve the result. So I've had to mentally find ways to alleviate self-pressurizing my performance.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Sure.
And
take the pressure off.
And so this is kind of how that looks for me. And just so you guys know, if you're interested, I like to practice, and practice for certain conditions. So when I was coming to California, I tried to get some practice sessions in some similar conditions. So I still like to practice, and coming to this event, I don't burden myself with pressure, but I rely on my experience because I've had, maybe almost 100 hours of competition experience.
Wow. Yeah.
Or maybe more.
Yep.
And so there's some confidence that comes with that as far as knowing what to do in the heat. Wave reading, I've been staring at the ocean for half my life.
Yes.
And surfing many different places, so there's wave knowledge and wave selection.
Yeah.
And these are all just assets I've accrued over the years that I bring into a competition like this one. And so I feel, hey, it's not necessary to put pressure on myself that I need to beat the younger guys. Hey, they're super talented and they might have their day out there, but I've got some assets and I'm going to take them into the water and I'm going to surf a smart heat. I'm going to do my best and let's see where the chips fall.
Well, that's the beauty is, you have nothing to prove now. You're 8-time drop knee world champ. You're highly regarded in the bodyboarding world as one of the best to ever ride a bodyboard. So it's not like you're an 18-year-old trying to break into the sport and prove themselves. So you have that to rest on. And then, as you mentioned, your years of experience riding waves, you cannot put a price on that. And I think a lot of times, this is getting off the page a little bit here, but I find that a lot of us that have been doing this all our lives take it a little bit for granted, reading waves and understanding how the wave is going to break and where it's going to break. Because if you take someone new out, and we've all done that, taking out a newbie or teaching somebody, and you have to understand, okay, this person, they don't know when to start paddling for the wave, how fast to go on the wave, which way to go, like all stuff that for you and I is like second nature. So it's,
it happened so long ago, we forgot what
years
that
ago, you
process
forgot.
was like.
Totally. So,
Absolutely.
The simplified version of that, I would have to say, is like a little kid learning to ride a two-wheel bike for the first time. For you and I who ride bikes, it's simple. You just hop on the thing and start pedaling. Easy. But for a 3 or 4-year-old kid, take the training wheels off and it's like, oh my God, they can't even stay upright. And you forget how simple that is for you and how difficult it is for the person who's not accustomed to it. But anyway, I got way off the page here. So I want to touch on something else. You mentioned you're now 39 at the day we're recording this. I'm 57.
You don't look at Jay.
Still, I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but I'll take it, and thank you. So my point is that, I think bodyboarders nowadays are pushing the age limits by far, because I retired as a full-time pro at 35, and I was one of the older guys on the tour by far.
Yeah, sure.
But now guys are maintaining their fitness levels and their skill levels well into their 40s, even 50s. Obviously, Mike Stewart now 58 and still ripping. What do you do to maintain your high level of riding?
I think just a generally healthy lifestyle goes a long way. So trying to eat healthy, trying to have some healthy lifestyle habits like getting enough sleep at night. I don't use drugs or drink alcohol, and I think just some real basic lifestyle choices can get you a far way.
Common sense stuff.
I think hereditary. I've been blessed with some very healthy parents, so that's not something anybody can control.
Yep.
But I have that on my side as well, and then I still get such enjoyment from whether it's going out and bodyboarding or whether it's stretching in the morning or occasionally going for a bike ride or a hike, other means of fitness,
cross training, if you will,
and cross training. So I do all those things, and it kind of serves me. And since I got married, I haven't made myself the priority as a professional athlete.
Got it.
And I could, I suppose, but I don't know how much a higher performance that would give me.
Right.
To your point about the aging professionals, yeah, I think it's very interesting, and I think being just soaking in salt water, I think is something good.
Thalassotherapy, they call that.
And I think you need to be kind of limber to ride any waves, but to bodyboard.
Yeah.
So I think there is something with just the way our bodies are engaged in our activity that lend themselves to longevity.
Yeah. And people ask me sometimes, what do you do? I have a routine. I get up at 4:30 every morning. I go for a run. Then I go surf, and then I go to work. So that works for me. Do you have a daily routine?
I have something like a routine, yeah. I do between a half hour and an hour of stretching or postural exercises, I guess you would call them.
Okay.
So that's how I start the day. I consume a pretty decent amount of water.
Do you carry one of those gigantic jugs of water?
When I'm in Hawaii,
that's not
I
giant,
have one
but
about double this size.
Okay.
But I put down probably a liter before each meal, in between each meal. So I'm close to a gallon.
Oh wow!
By the end,
solid.
Somewhere near that by the end of the day.
Okay.
And so that's kind of built into the routine because that's during the day. I'm actively consuming water.
Yeah.
But since getting married, I haven't kind of readjusted to like a set routine.
Okay.
Mostly just I try to get that stretching in to start the day and kind of
see where the day takes you.
Yeah, and then it could be going surfing or it might not be. But typically a couple times a week I'm hitting the water.
Okay, so that's my next question is how often do you surf? You said a couple times a week. Is that it? Twice a week?
I think on average, if you count the whole year where I'm traveling a lot and in places that maybe don't have waves, it's probably 2 or 3 times a week. But probably when I'm at home or on a surf trip, that those numbers go up.
Sure.
And it's probably 4 or 5 times a week, maybe something like that.
Okay, so you're surfing pretty consistently, and obviously doing all the right things to keep yourself healthy going into, I don't want to say old age because I'm way older than you. You're a comet compared to me, so I love hearing that, man. So let's just take a 180 turn here and quickly touch on one more thing here, and that is your announcing. You've been doing some announcing for World Tour events for quite some time now. How did you fall into that?
Wow, yeah. It was at the Encanto.
Yeah, in Puerto Rico.
In Puerto Rico. Hubboards sponsored that event.
Yep.
So one of us, or both of us, were invited into the commentary booth. And at this particular edition of Encanto, I don't think I passed my first heat, or at least I didn't pass 2 heats.
Okay.
So I was invited into the booth a lot more often. Steve was there.
Yep.
And there was only one other active commentator, so they were happy to receive relief.
Yep.
And to get another commentator in on the cycle.
Because they need to go pee and eat. So,
bodily functions.
But you stepped in.
So I stepped in, kind of felt that it came somewhat naturally.
Yeah.
There were things I had to learn for sure, and of course I'm nowhere near like the top levels of professional commentary, but I would like to continue to learn.
Yeah.
And had fun, enjoyed it, and was receiving wonderful feedback from the people who were nice enough to pay me compliments,
yeah,
which kind of boosted my confidence and affirmed that maybe I should continue doing it. And then I sought some opportunities, and then there was a year or two on the tour back when I think it was the APB, that I kind of negotiated accommodations and other ways to offer my service
to compensate you. We'll put you up in a hotel, you commentate for the event.
Yeah, so it was like a win-win for both parties because
Yep.
they didn't have to pay me out in cash.
Yep.
They could maybe get their sponsor to put me up, or a hotel sponsor the event. And then I was also getting those things taken care of, so it was less money out of my pocket.
Yep.
So that gave me more experience, and now if I have the chance at an event, and if there's the need or the desire to have me involved, I try to make some time to do it, and sometimes it works out more, and sometimes I'm not able to, or they don't need me, but I kind of like it.
Okay.
Again, it's like the competition thing. Hey, if I'm able and there's the opportunity and I can participate and I can offer that, then cool.
Now, do you have any kind of background, like growing up in school, were you always the kid that raised their hand? I'll read from the book. Because I was. I was always I want to read, I was a ham. Do you have that in you?
I'm a little bit of a ham, yeah.
Okay.
When I was growing up, I might not have been raising my hand to read, but trying to get in the back of any picture that was being taken certainly was seeking attention.
Sure.
And I kind of was offered some roles in some school plays, but they required too much memorization, and I wanted to be bodyboarding, and those things I would kind of regret. I think I could have done a little bit better in as a thespian,
right?
With a TH. But yeah, now I have the opportunity to do something like that, and it's cool. It's fun.
Awesome, man. Well, maybe if bodyboarding's ever in the Olympics,
me and you could call the heat.
NBC Sports, yes. Jay Reale and Dave Hubbard, we're available, folks. So get Joe Turpel out of there, get us in.
He could join us. I think he could call bodyboarding. He just needs color.
Hey, this
color
is Joe Turpel. He has that slow drawl. But yes, I like the idea. Well, folks, the sun's going down here. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Ocean Beach, San Diego. Dave, I'm going to give you one chance to, I hate this cliche, but do you want to give any shout outs to anyone?
Sure.
Kudos. Thank yous. Yeah.
If my wife's watching, of course, I have a wonderful wife, Evelyn. Thank you so much for your support and love. And of course, Jeff, just such a wonderful brother and business partner, and couldn't be happier to share workspace and personal space, but also the water with you, Jeff. So thank you so much. Wouldn't be here without you. And just anybody who likes Hubboards or watches me from time to time, really appreciate it. It's an honor and privilege to be in this sport, and I don't take it for granted. I'm extremely grateful. So thank you.
Awesome, Dave. If anyone out there is unfamiliar with Dave's antics in the ocean, just Google Dave Hubbard bodyboarding and go to YouTube. Videos will absolutely blow your mind what this guy can do on a bodyboard. He is one of the best versatile bodyboarders that ever existed. I started my career as a drop knee, prone, and occasional stand-up guy many years ago. This guy has taken it to another level, and he's setting the stage for the next generation of riders coming after him. So If you're a bodyboarder, mix it up, man. Try prone, try drop knee, try stand up, or whatever you have fun doing. Right on your butt, your back, I don't care. It's a bodyboard. Use your whole body.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever finished a show like that. But
side knee, ankle,
you're talking
navel,
about the snake.
elbow.
That's what Tom Morey first called it, was the snake board, right? Side, knee, arm. Side, navel, arm, knee, elbow. SNAKE, an acronym. Excellent. Well, Dave, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's been real. Real deal. It's the Real Deal Show. Jay Reale and Dave Hubbard live from Ocean Beach. Folks, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button, click the thumbs up at the bottom, throw down some comments. And thank you for watching. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you. Hope you enjoyed your workout, which has been about 35 minutes at this point. And we've loved talking to Dave. We'll see you over and out, and we will see you in the surf.